in my teens. I want to say 16 or 17. I started at as a porter, car porter, or they called them car hikers at that time. But at a multi-point dealership. So they had Highline, like Mercedes, BMW, Land Rover, Alfa Romeo at the time. But then they also had domestic brands. So we also had Chrysler, Plymouth, and Buick. So I would be driving a BMW M6 and then to somebody's house, or picking somebody up from work, or bringing their car around after it's been serviced, to then jumping in like a Buick Grand National or a Dodge product. So it was a very good place to learn, in the sense of there was such diversity in one place. Then, off to college and other life experiences, I was referred to a job opening in sales, which I hadn't done in the past, but I had general knowledge of just from working in a car dealership. And being a porter, you're helping service, you're helping new car sales, not so much parts, but those basically front of house, so variable side and fixed op side. Next thing you know, I started selling cars for the next 10 years. I started first with Honda, which was really nice because it was a large, high-volume store, and typically there's more clients. So I got to cut my teeth pretty quickly right in the beginning. 5 years later, I moved to Highline. I went to Lexus, which was a totally different experience, but also in sales. But different client, different approach, different times. My personality lent to making a lot of friendships when I sold cars. And so they liked to book their service through me. They wanted to call me and tell me what the scenario was, and let me relay that to the service drive and schedule an appointment and all that stuff. So I got to get a little bit more hands-on at that point with fixed ops. Full disclosure, I've been playing music for a very long time. So after sales, well, also while I was in sales, I was a DJ, just Saturday nights, Friday and Saturday nights, nightclub DJing. And then when I left the car industry for a short time, I really leaned on that. I went more into corporate entertainment, but it was still sales related. I still had to sell myself, but also I was very comfortable talking to anybody about anything, really. I wasn't looking for a job in general, but when I talked to Scott and he kind of asked me for a 15-minute phone conversation, turned into an hour, I got more and more interested. And then I found out that everybody pretty much came from fixed ops. So everybody that is kind of in the role that I'm in was either a service director, a fixed ops manager, service manager, somebody with, they know how much a window regulator pays. They know how many quarts of oil go in such and such car, which those are little details that I didn't know about, but I still knew the general structure of a dealership. But later on, he told me the qualities that I had, being able to speak to anyone, walk into any room and introduce myself with comfort and ease, and an approachable attitude, was some things that couldn't really be taught, and the things that I didn't know could be taught. So that's how going from selling cars to playing music to now fixed ops marketing. Every day is a little bit different. Yeah, we're talking about a lot of the same things, but to different people under different circumstances for different reasons, and it really makes it interesting. So each day with TVI, I also don't feel like I'm going to work. There's a more focus on retaining clients as much as there is bringing in new ones. Service departments wanting to re-engage with clients that haven't been there in a year or more, or 2 or more years, and really trying to get them back in the door, reacquainted with the dealership, and hold on to them. And also bringing in new clients that maybe live in their area but didn't buy a car there or never came there for service, is really engaging with them and getting them in the door and starting to build a relationship with them. Having a strong fixed ops department, meaning parts and service, is so important, because you don't know what's going to happen on the variable side, hence variable side. I feel like fixed ops, especially service writers, when we're talking about the guest experience and people coming in, they're really good listeners, and they know how to ask the right questions to try and get the pertinent information that the technician's going to need to kind of accelerate the process of getting the customer in, everything that they have wanted addressed, and get back out. Because I think once the customer is on that side of the table, that's really the most important thing, other than price and general guest experience. But I think vice versa, though, I think sales could give service a lot of I don't want to say advice, but definitely influence on the guest experience as far as welcoming, being excited, motivated, very, and I only say this from my own experience pulling into service drives for my car, where I'll pull in and there's people working and they're busy and they're on their own world, and they're not noticing that maybe if they have a greeter, the greeter's not there. They're helping somebody else at the moment, and just being aware of like, hey, have you been helped? Good afternoon, good to see you. Are you here to see someone in particular? So on and so forth. Whereas in sales, by the time someone touches the handle, one or multiple people have already asked them, welcome them, ask them how they could help them or help them find someone or something. So there should be some cross, I don't know if it's training or experience. And in the car dealership world, they, unfortunately, from my experience, they don't collaborate as much, and especially once service writers have been there for a long time, they lose some of that enthusiasm. They lose that, I can't wait to tell you about, I could send you home in a lift, or we have a shuttle, we have or let me show you where the restrooms are, where you could get a fresh cup of coffee, we have popcorn over here, or so on, the amenities. Whereas in sales, we're constantly doing that. We're always that, and I feel like after a while in service, they need a little bit more of a boost in that area, where they probably said that a whole bunch of times, and now they're they feel like maybe it's the same person and they don't need to know that again. But service drives lose a certain amount of people every year, that either choose to go somewhere else or go to a mom and pop location as opposed to going to the dealership. And that's a really big reason why to keep reiterating these things, because those mom and pops are not going to be offering these if they, for whatever reason, choose to go there. I know that with service departments and the OEM, they have certain guidelines and things that they have to do, and vendors that they have to use. And I think sometimes when you have multiple vendors, especially for marketing, the artwork can be different, the message might be slightly different. But I think having a consistent message and appearance through all platforms, mail, email, and digital, is hugely important. I think that it avoids any issue of like mixed messages, confusion. Sometimes even if the message is the same but the artwork is different, people, gives people a second thought about it. Guest experience. Having, like I had mentioned previously, just having that same enthusiasm as the new car side. Good afternoon, so happy to see you. What brings you in today? Are you here to see a specific service writer? Being engaged. I just walked into a new car dealership that's a new point and a new building and new everything. So the staff is new. Any single person comes around the corner or walks in, everybody lights up, everybody smiles, everybody, can't wait to help them, because it's everything is brand new. And I think over time that diminishes, and that's unfortunate. I think that really adds to the guest experience. And repeating, do you know where our restrooms are, our waiting room is, where the coffee machine is, and so on. I think in that way, and then guest experience as far as their car, where their things are, how their seat is set, where their steering wheel is, the AC, they don't ever put it on full blast. Suddenly they get in their car after service, the AC fan's on full blast, or the radio station is different. I think that's sometimes overlooked. And I think when people get in their car after service, that's the first thing they notice. And service working as a team. You know, even if that's not your customer and their service writer has walked away, instead of just saying, oh, you know, I know you have a question, but your service writer will be right back. Let me hear your question. Possibly it's something, you know, generic or vanilla that they could answer for them, even though it's taking away from whatever it is that they're doing, or their clients or their waiters, treating that client even as though it is their client and not the other service writer's client. So just working as a cohesive team.